All right, guys, this video is to help us create our orthographic sketch or CAD design for our orthographic sketches for the toolbox, the wooden toolbox that you're making. So let's go ahead and jump in. I did pull up this net that we have in our notes to help us kind of figure out how to make this toolbox for our orthographic sketches. So we know that we're going to have several pieces that are going to be 14 inches in length, one that's going to be 14 by 7, and two that are going to be 14 by half a 7, which is 3.5. Then we're going to have two pieces that are 8.5 by 7. So we're going to go ahead and start making those. So I already have a area set up here for us. I'm going to go and change our name of this to wooden toolbox, and put your last name. And at any time you need to pause the video, rewind, fast forward, whatever works for you. This is a resource video for you. Okay, I'm going to go into settings, and we know that the length of everything is 14. So I'm going to make it just a little longer, 15. And we know that the width of everything is 7/8. Let's just do 10. Okay, I'm going to click Make Default. So we have our nice workspace here. Okay, there we go. That'll be our work plane. All right, let's start with the base. We know that the base piece is going to be, as we already said, 7 inches in width and 14 inches in length. So 7 tab 14. And then our wood for this project is going to be 0.75, 3 inches, 3/4 of an inch tall. Okay. And how do I know that? Well, it's up here in our directions that says what size wood we're going to be using. And it says here that we're going to be planing everything to 3/4 of an inch. It also says here that with the ripping of the wood, we have to make sure that it's down to 3/4 of an inch. So that's where I got that from, not making it up out of anywhere else. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the next part, which is the side pieces. So before we get too far into this, let me move my face here. And let's give this a light wood look. Okay, I want to do a light stain. We can go that route. So we're going to put our side pieces on. Now, our side pieces, we know are 14 inches in length. Okay, tab. Bring that back over here. And we know that the width of the wood has to be the width. The width has to be the thickness of the wood, which is 7/5 or 3/4. 3/4, 0.75. The height of our pieces, remember, this is half of 7. So half of 7 is 3.5. We're going to go ahead and set that, and then we will also give it that same wood look. Okay. And I'm going to put it right against the wood so it's lined up. And then I'm going to do a Control C and Control V. So I'm going to copy and paste and slide this piece over to here. Now, we are going to have to make one change here right away. It doesn't actually sit like this on our box. So to show you how this stuff works or how it's going to all get put together, we're going to have to raise this up and put it on the base. So if I raise this piece up to 3/4, remember every click I do is 1/8 of an inch. Then I can go ahead and slide this right on to the corner, make sure it matches. Okay. The other way we can do it, and I'll show you with this one, we're going to raise it up to 3/4. There we go. And we can highlight these two pieces and we can click L for align. And we want to align these two pieces to the corner. Okay, so you could do it that way. All right. And it lines up. But now we can see this piece got moved over, but I can just use the arrows to get it to line up. So this is how your box is going to look with the long pieces and the base. This is how it's all going to put together. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and group that so it doesn't do anything or go anywhere. I'm just going to put it off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the two side pieces, which are 8.5 by 7. So I'm going to bring this out and I'm going to make it 7 inches in width and 8.5 in length. Okay. And then I'm going to make the height 3/4 of an inch because that's how thick our wood is. Now for this, we're going to do one piece. We're going to make all the adjustments we have to make to this, and then we'll copy and paste it because we need two sides. Okay. So let's get rolling with this one. first, just to be consistent. I'm going to change the color. Now, if you remember from the pictures we have in here, we showed you, we're going to have to cut these two corner pieces off. So based on the dimensions that we're working with, we're going to have to cut a line here and cut a line here, and then we have to make that hole there. That's all we really need to do with the pieces for today for our sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my head up out of the way here a little bit. I'm going to grab a wedge piece, okay? And I'm going to make sure the wedge piece is rotated so that it's going to be laid out with the corners matching each other. So the first thing I have to do is I have to take this and I have to mirror it, okay? And I'm going to want to rotate it so that it matches this way. So I'm going to do the arrow that basically mirrored the shape. So now that I got that mirrored, I can bring that over here. And then the other thing you're going to notice too is we have to, oops, that's fine, I'll leave it there. We have to rotate our piece. So we're going to have to go 90 degrees. So we got to find the compass. That's going to allow us to turn it 90 degrees. Now you can do that, and you can see it's negative the way I'm using it, which is fine. I also, to make sure that it's in a perfect spot, I'm going to click on the compass. I'm going to type -90 so it flops that way. You see that? And I am okay with it being a little taller than the piece because that allows us to make sure that it's in the right spot. So I can try to line it up like I'm doing right there, and I should have no problem with it. But you could also just highlight the two and hit align and make sure you get it to the corner. But you can see that I have it perfect there because it's already gray. All right, before we do anything else with this piece, I'm going to make sure it's turned into a hole. Now, based on how far we have to go down, this measurement right here goes to here, which is at 4. So 4 up from 8.5 means that there is 3.5 inches left to get to the top. So that's an important measurement. We need to know 3.5. And you can see here that this block or this little mark here is at 2.5. So I'm going to use that information to be able to finish off making this this piece that we're going to cut out. So to make the piece at the top be 2.5 inches, I'm going to click the little node, change the 1 to 2.5. And then down here, I'm going to click this little node and I'm going to change that to 3.5. There we go. That's the part that we will be cutting off with the miter saw. And here we can cut it off with the tools. So the last thing we have to do then is put this on the opposite side. So I'm going to just copy this, Control C, Control V. I'm going to bring it over. And as I put it in the corner and make sure that it fits, we realize that it's backwards. So again, we'll just take the mirror, we'll flip it, and now we're good to go. Okay? So that's the easiest way to make our sides. I'm going to click the center of that and zoom in so we have this fitted. Go ahead and highlight these pieces and group it. There we go. All right, so the last thing we have to do is we have to put that hole for the dowel in here. So I'm going to bring a hole cylinder out. Again, our cylinder is going to be a 3/4 inch because that's how big the dowel is. So let's go ahead and change these ones to 0.75, tab 0.75. So there's our hole. Now we got to make sure it's in the right spot. So the way this is set up is it's supposed to be 1.5 inches down and right down the center at 3 3/4 from the sides. So let's make sure we get it to 1.5 inches down. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to highlight these things and hit L for a line. I want to make sure it's lined all the way at the top and that it's centered. Wow, I had it centered already. That's awesome. Okay, so we are on 1/8 inch markings here. So that means to go 1.5 inches, I'm going to need to go 8/8 for one hole. And then half of 8 is 4. So that's 12 dashes I need to make to bring this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So that's at the right spot. So now that I have that, I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to Control G or hit the little button up here for grouping. Now that we got one of them, we're going to need two sides. So we might as well just copy, Control C, Control V, copy and paste. All right, so I'm going to put them on the outside, and you can see again here, this one's going to lay out nice when we flip it up, but this one we got to mirror. So I'm going to mirror it this way and put it here-ish. Okay. All right, we're going to bring our box back in. There it is. Before we put the sides on, we got to rotate them up. So I'm going to grab the mirror or the compass here, click on it, zoom out till I can see it. I'm going to make it 90. Oops. It wants to go the other way. So I'm going to click that and make it negative 90. And then don't forget you got to hit D to bring it up to the right height. Now that it's there, I can kind of push it right into the side, make sure that it's all connected. You can see on this side, I got to move it over. There we go. So that side's good. And then we're going to go to this side. So I'm going to move myself over here. I'm going to click on the shape and I'm going to click this fit little icon, or you can click F on the keyboard. So again, I'm going to hit this, and I think this one, I can get the 0. There it is, 90. Oh, I went the right way. Now I got to hit D to bring it up. And then I just have to line it up with the toolbox. I look here. I think I got it. Oh, nope. That's why I got to look at the right angle. Bring it closer. Look at the other side. We can see here that it's off a little bit, so we bring it over. There we go. Voila. We have our toolbox in the right shape. Okay. Now, oh, there we go. Close that gap. Now what we have to do is highlight this and group it. Okay. Last thing we have to do is bring out the dowel that we're going to be putting through here. So on here, the dowel is actually going to be cut, even though we know it's, it's 14 inches in length plus 3/4 of an inch thickness on both sides. So that's 15 and a half. What we're going to decide to do, and I believe we have it in the directions, is that we're going to, here it is, the dowel is going to be cut to 16 inches long. So there's a little bit that hangs out on both sides. You can cut that off later if you want, or you can leave it look like that. So we're going to bring a dowel out, and we're going to lay it down so that now we're going to rotate it. So I'm going to just grab the compass, rotate it 90 degrees because it really doesn't matter either way. All right, so let's get this set for a 3/4 inch dowel first. So we're going to want to make sure that the diameter is 0.75 for 3/4 of an inch. So that would mean along this way, and the height, 0.75, and the height. There we go. And the length of our dowel right now is 1 inch. We need to make it 16 inches. Right. Now to make sure everything's aligned, we're going to highlight both things and click L for align. And we're just going to click the centerpiece to make sure it's aligned to the center. And then the centerpiece here to make sure it's aligned to the center. Now you should see the dowel is kind of stuck between the wood. Okay. It's all lined up properly. So let me fit this so we can see the whole thing. Okay. Now the dowel is off to the side. So now what we need to do is we need to bring the dowel. Actually, what we should do is we can highlight this and hit F again. And hit it all. And hit L for align. And let's bring it all the way to the top. Forgot that one. Okay, now our dowel is sitting at the top. We need to bring it down 1.5 inches, and it'll fit right inside that hole. So I'll bring it to the side so we can see that. I'm going to grab that black triangle, and we're just going to drag it down till it goes to -1.5. We're at 1/2 right now. 7/8, 1, 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2. And there we go. It sits right inside the hole. It hangs off a little bit on both sides, which is perfect. Now the last thing we have to do is just group it all together. So I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to hit group. And I want the dowel to be a separate color because the dowel is going to be a little bit different than the rest of the wood that you're using. So I'm going to click solid, change it to multicolor, and orange is the color that we're going to use here. But now you're good to go. You have your piece. We'll kind of line it up on our work plane. And now we can go to home. Oh, it zoomed in a lot. Holy moly. But now we can go to top. Let's get it to fit. That's what I want to fit. There's your top view. So you're going to take a screenshot of that. Your front view, take a screenshot of that. Your right view, take a screenshot of that. And then your ISO picture. You got any questions, see myself or Mr. Harris, and we'll help make sure you get this done. Then you get to go in the shop. Then you get to actually make the toolbox.